the time, cause I wanna freeze this moment, make it mine, hold you close, now my heart's wide open, when I'm with you suddenly I feel no pain, do you make it go away, do you make it
opportunistic, still rubbing panels as they go together. It's folded the wing mirror in on Gerardo's car.
Misano is such a difficult circuit for these guys to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections around the back. It's a very, very quick section as well.
It's a fantastic start from the 23. They're 4 wide there by the look of it. Good evening, everybody. Good evening and welcome to Chaz Draycott Media, and welcome to a brand new series here on the channel. We are here with NEVO once again. Big thanks to NEVO and their fantastic support of my broadcasting and commentary and all other manner of wonderful things. We are here with the NEVO TCR Series. It's fantastic to have a TCR Championship finally on the channel. Very excited to get things underway. I am, however, joined by a new commentator for the first time in this championship, or well, not just this championship, but the first time on the channel. My good friend Matthew Crisp joins me in the box. Matthew, welcome to the box, mate. I've not even asked you yet. Can I call you Matt?
Yeah, call me whatever you like.
I'm not quite sure we're on that page yet. But still, to be honest, mate, it's great to have you in the box. What are you looking forward to most about this championship and, of course, commentating on it?
I mean, I've raced in it the last couple of seasons. It's always close racing, always brilliant action. And thought, do you know what, this season, let's take a step back. Let's view it from a different perspective this time.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's always good fun viewing it from up in the box. And what about this circuit? I mean, the Hungaroring, one of my very favourite circuits in the world. It's notoriously difficult to overtake here, but any sort of racing action around this track is always exciting.
Yeah, it's a brilliant circuit. A track that, yeah, if open wheeler cars, very difficult to overtake, but in these TCR cars, it's used, of course, in real life. I think the World Touring Car Championship goes there and always produces brilliant action. And yeah, I'm sure we're in for some more of that tonight.
Yeah, I've actually had the privilege of being in the paddock when the World Touring Car Championship was, well, there in person as well. They were supporting the FIA European Truck Racing Championship, and in what were very, very hot conditions, it was a very, very tasty weekend. So, what do we look at in terms of the cars then? Well, we have practice going on at the moment. We've got another sort of 15 minutes of this, so we're going to look at some drivers, look at some cars, and get our eyes on what machines we're going to be seeing. Here's a good friend of mine, Morgan Butler, in the number 33 Pure Sims Esports Hyundai Elantra. Not seen Morgan for a long, long time, and I've not commentated on him for maybe a few years now even, actually, to be honest with you. Morgan's a very, very fast lad. He knows what he's doing in this Elantra. Now, obviously, we've got a number of different cars out there tonight, Matthew. We've got a number of them in terms of different shapes and sizes and lengths and manufacturers. Which cars do you find the most interesting out of these TCR machines?
Do you have to say at the moment the ones beginning with H are the ones you want to be in, and this is a Honda. The racing BOP changed in the last week, so these drivers have not had a long time really to get used to the changes to these different cars, because they will all handle slightly differently, as we can see. We see there some of the guys showing you how not to take turn one. But yeah. There'll be lots to look out for. Again, when it comes to the races, the race starts. Each of these cars, they start slightly differently. The Audi doesn't have a clutch. All the other cars do. So little variations between the different cars should produce some great racing.
Hopefully will do. Now, yes, as I've been corrected in the chat, Jakub Szymanski said I forgot about Butler being in the Formula 1 World Championship, but Morgan pointed out to me earlier this is going to be the first non-Chaz Draycott Media Championship that I've commentated on him in about 18 months. He used to race in the World GT Championship, but last time I had a one-off appearance for that. He wasn't actually racing in it. Let's talk you through the cars themselves and how they're going to look then. If you look here at the windscreen banner on the top of Stephen Norman's Hyundai Veloster, you'll see that it is white, much like the number boards down the side of it. Now, if we look at someone like Martin Shirley, as he comes towards us at the chicane, you'll see his is a very dark blue, almost black windscreen banner. The number boards remain white, just because, well, the numbers get stamped on in dark blue or black on most of these machines. But the difference is the Pro and Am classes. Now, on the left-hand side of your screen, where you have the timing tower, you'll see that little angled stripe, which shows a colour, and that is to differentiate between the two classes that you'll see at the top right now, and that is Pro for white, Am is blue. That is basically divided on I rating in most cases, but to be honest with you, Matt, we've seen before that I rating doesn't mean everything, does it, when it comes to league racing?
No, definitely not, and you can see already there's a couple of the AM guys ahead of a few of the pro guys. Thomas Lacey, the AM champion from last season, he was saying coming into this, I shouldn't be a pro driver, I shouldn't be a pro driver, I should be in the AM class, and look at him, we saw last season he was right up there with the pros, and again in practice right up there again, 8th position at the moment in his practice.
Yeah, he's doing a good job so far. Ed May in the Well, I was going to say Ed May in the commentary box. I'm so used to saying that sentence. Ed May in the YouTube chat. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing well this evening. Good evening to Motorsport Magpie as well. Mark Fletcher, Super Riley, Martin Deckens, and even Matthew Crisp giving us a wave in the YouTube chat as well. But yes, you're right. To be honest, when you get these drivers coming in from winning a class in the season previous and then getting put up into the class above, they often do complain that, I shouldn't be in this one. I only won the other one because I'm the fastest of them. Doesn't mean I'm a pro. But it's often great to see that transition from one championship to the next, and it always means that you're going to get a different AM champion in the following season. I also must say I agree with Ed May. He said it's going to be a bloodbath because it is the first round of a TCR championship, and to be honest, Matt, we have to get used to liveries, yeah. We have to keep having a look at who's racing what and get used to the colours of everyone's cars. This is one of my favourites, the Snail Speed machine of Tom Van Putt. It's a gorgeous looking car.
It is. The Honda, I think, is one of the best looking TCR cars out there. And this is another great example of that.
Now, as you can see, Hyundai's lock out the entire top 10 at the moment. That is a mixture of Elantra and Veloster. The Veloster is apparently the fastest car at the moment, though, so we need to keep our eye out and see just how well they do over the course of the evening. But yeah, some fantastic liveries on show, gorgeous looking machines. We actually have Martin Kenyon in the YouTube chat, and he's got one of the most interesting looking cars on the grid. We'll try and find him a little bit later. I also did have a look at these cars. These are the Simtech racing machines. Now, if I had a quid for every Simtech something or other that I'd seen, actually, we do have two different Simtech teams in the championship. I've just realised we've got Rob Jackson for Simtech with a H on the end, racing blue, and then we've got Sam Smith, his teammate Jason Morris, for Simtech without a H on the end. And to be honest with you, I've seen a lot of teams called Simtech, although actually, is it the same one? Let's look at the logo when they're side on. I'm not sure if it's the same or not.
No, I'm not sure either.
I'm not sure. I've not got a clue. We've got the Samsoid Dungeon machine.
It's Simtech without a H on the end. Must be a different team.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. It's. I'm not sure whether they've just spelt it wrong when they put it in the list. Now, we've got Ian Manners out there on the circuit, and I have him down as driving a Hyundai Veloster in this championship, so you will not see the decal layer on his car, unfortunately, at the moment. We will get that fixed, but there are a few drivers that have changed cars very last minute. It seems like Mark Redford is one of them as well. Mark actually had originally put down on the list that he was going to be driving the Hyundai Elantra as well, so it seems like nobody wants the Elantra anymore except for my mate Morgan Butler.
Somebody's got to choose it, haven't they, surely?
Well, I think
maybe for TV time, I think.
Yeah, it must be. I think it's a gorgeous machine. It's one of the best looking touring cars in years. It's got a very angry face on it. The rear end's a little bit strange, but I still think it looks good. It looks very stiff, doesn't it? It looks almost like an RC car. Like you could sort of press against the body of it and it would just sort of mould and move around a bit.
Yeah, but it rides the curbs well. Like in the past, it's ridden the curbs well. So different tracks, that could be an advantage. Again, longer wheelbase. Again, at different tracks, that could prove to be an advantage. But I have heard that the Veloster is going to get BOP tomorrow in the iRacing patch that's coming. So you see all those high nose at the top at the moment. It may not stay like that as the season progresses.
Yeah, we've actually gotten very close to having a patch released, haven't we? So they are going to be fixing that as of tomorrow. So could be an interesting result tonight, actually, which may end up being different to what we're going to see other times of the season, basically. Now, was I right in Ian Manners being in Elantra? He is, isn't he? Yeah. So Ian Manners has gone from the Veloster to the Elantra, maybe suspecting that something is going to change very suddenly after this round.
Two different models of the same car, Chaz. I think it's confusing us already.
Yeah, honestly.
Same manufacturer.
Oh, it's going to be the case most of the way through the season, especially with the fact that our timing screen, and as you will all see as well on the left-hand side there, everybody, your timing screens will also say Hyundai, whether it is an Elantra or the Veloster. So we'll have to just deal with it, unfortunately. Ian Manners is in the AM class for this championship. I'm saying this out loud because I am literally making his decal layer right now and putting it in the folder. So we'll give that a quick refresh. All the cars will go white for a minute, and very soon we should see decal layers on his car. Now, here is the reigning champion, Terje Flaten, the #1 machine for Ignium Motorsport, part of 2 Ignium drivers, well, actually 3 in the top 3 at the minute and 4 in the top 5. Stephen Norman behind. We have Ignium Motorsport just as the sort of title team, which are the white, black and blue cars. Ignium Motorsport Spark, which is the white, black and purple machines. And then we have Ignium Motorsport Blaze, which are the red ones. We've got Hakon Ask in this machine, another Norwegian. 2 Norwegians at the top at the moment. And it's always good to have more and more drivers, even if you do have to split your teams up a little bit, Matt. It's actually quite good to have strength in numbers, isn't it, in a championship like this?
From the position I'm sitting in now this season, yes. But last season when I was on a one-car team fighting against all these guys, it was not so much. But yeah, Terrier at the front is surely going to be one of the, if not the guy that's beating this championship this season. He's got every single pole position last year, so an outright speed, there's no doubt he's the quickest one out there. We'll have to see if he can take back-to-back titles this season. The interesting thing, he's got Varley with him for every race this season, whereas he only came in as a driver late in the championship, more to help defend from me, but it worked out for them. It worked out for them in the end.
That's a nice little brag you can have all season, isn't it? You can know just about where you would have ended up or who you might have been fighting with. It's quite a good thing to know. Now, yes, we have. Martin Kenyon has mentioned in the chat that Mark Redford is in a livery that his son is actually racing at the moment in the real-life Civic Cup, which is the Honda Civic Type R EP3. Mark's got a wonderful son, Will Redford. He's been a fantastic racing driver for a couple of years now. He raced in the Junior Saloon Car Championship here in the UK, racing the wonderful Citroen Saxos, and he has now moved on to the Civic Cup, and he is part of Pro Alloys Racing, and Mark is running their livery for this championship. It's great to see it. It's good to see Mark back out as well. I've often commentated on Mark on the oval racing side of things, so Mark managing to turn right this evening as well as turning left, so I'm excited to see what he can manage. Now, of course, we do have the 2 classes as we've mentioned them, but we also need to keep our eye on the fact that the car numbers, as you see on the left-hand side, I'll pop them up on the left-hand side for you now. The pro drivers basically have a 2-digit number, and anyone in the AM class is number 100 and above. They just have a 1 in front of their number, essentially, so they have to just differentiate between each other while they're racing with that. Because one thing that I know you'll realise as well, Matt, is that when you're racing and you've got 2 classes in your field, it's actually hard to know or hard to remember, unless there's a decal layer or some differentiating number like that. It's hard to know who's in the same class as you, isn't it, when you're out there?
Yeah, exactly. The numbers is the number one way of really telling it. And you also know when you're approaching drivers, say if one of the quicker guys are starting further back, you know that, okay, this guy's he's in the AM class. He is supposedly slower than me, so I may need to take a bit more caution when overtaking them, or however whatever situation you may end up in.
Now, we've not got too long now for the session to be completed, but it is Terje Flaten at the top at the moment. Preben Vala in second position for Ignium Motorsport. Ben Hicks in third. Morgan Butler fourth. Steve Norman in fifth place for Ignium Motorsport Spark. And in terms of the AM class, we've got Maxime Janssens at the top for Simtech Racing Black. It's a 1-2 in that category as well, actually. Martin Shirley, second place at the moment in the STR Veloster. Very tasty looking machine. Tim Perry is just behind them in 4 boosted, but he's in the pro class. Then we have Niles Mansanden in the Ignium Motorsport Blaze Elantra in 15th place. So we've got quite a healthy spread of cars and drivers. There's a lot of Velosters out there, but I'm excited to see how that may change over the season. And let's not forget, actually, Matt, there's a penalty, isn't there, for changing cars?
Certainly, that's just to deter people from, if they're in the championship fight and there is a patch to iRacing, or they realise they're not quite in the supposedly favoured car, that because it's not nice when you see people. It doesn't happen in real life when people don't change cars mid-season. So we try and replicate that as best as possible here.
Yeah, drivers and I'm just checking actually. I thought it was 30 points different if they change car mid-season, but I can't remember where I had that confirmed. So I'll have to find out. But I'm pretty sure that Jakub Szymanski, who is in the chat, good to see you, mate. He's the man behind this championship, and I'm pretty sure it was him that confirmed it to me that it's 30 points when the drivers change car. And that, like you say, it is just to deter people from doing it, because as you and I both know, in many championships where you get a lot of different cars and the balance of performance changes, people will very quickly just go from one to the next. They don't care how it looks, they don't care about anything like about the sort of visual aspect of it or what the car might carry with it. They'll just go for it, and change to whatever's the fastest at the time. These guys are competitive at the end of the day. Well, these cars look great around this circuit at the moment, don't they? This circuit's flowing so well, and so are these TCR cars.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how well they race. That's the only thing. But I'm sure these guys, they'll any half a gap, they'll be sending it in there, and hopefully they keep it all clean.
Hopefully so. We can expect a lot of contact and a lot of argy-bargy this evening, as you'll all know. Anyone that's done sim racing before, it can take time to get used to the people that you're up against in a specific championship, and especially when it's the first race meeting, you need to just learn and feel your way around the circuit effectively, and whether that means leaning on other cars around you or not, well, we'll have to wait and see. On board with Tim Perry now in the Honda Civic TCR car, Honda Civic Type R. Now, this is by far the loudest TCR car on the grid when it comes to real-world stuff. It's even got the extra rasp on the iRacing equivalent as well, but in the few TCR championships I've been lucky enough to go and watch all over Europe, I can hands down tell you that the Civic is just umpteen times louder than everything else. I don't know quite why, but it just is. It is ridiculously loud, is the Civic. I've not seen the Veloster in person, funnily enough. I've not actually been to watch the TCR UK Championship at the moment, which I keep meaning to go and see, but there is a Veloster or two in that one, I believe.
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest, Chaz, on that one. The Honda in the British touring cars, I think it sounds exactly the same as the double. Sounds the same as the other cars. It's not. I know it's probably different engines and all that, but
yeah,
from what I remember, from what I remember being trackside there, it's the same.
Yeah, it's a little bit sort of dumbed down in comparison. TCR cars have got a lot more rasp about them than your average sort of NGTC British touring car. They're very unique specification in the British Touring Car Championship, but either way, I mean, the noise that they make is just great. It's exactly how a race car should sound to me. You know, it's a 4-cylinder 2-litre engine. They are turbocharged within TCR regulations, but back when we used to have the naturally aspirated individual throttle bodies of the 2-litre engines in the Super Touring era of the British Touring Car Championship, it was just heaven. And even now, it's good to see that touring cars can still sound and look this good. This is a very striking livery of Ben Gregory in Boosted SimSport. Boosted have had very striking liveries for a long time, to be fair, and they continue to bring more with them into this championship. So coming back to results and pace and potentials here, Matt, you reckon that Terje Flaten's going to be the one to beat again?
Yeah, I mean, if he's not on pole, I'll be very surprised. As I said, he took every pole last season. He was completely unstoppable in when it came to qualifying, and again took on practice 3 attempts over his teammate, and then another second back to Ben Hicks. Ben was also right up there in the championship, I think last season, was it? Again, another Ignium Motorsport car. And then yeah, Morgan Butler. I don't know if he's hiding a little bit of pace. I'm sure there's more to come from him, but yeah, not long to find out.
Yeah, Morgan is very quick, to be fair. He's been driving a lot of touring cars as of late, and he's continuously trying to improve himself in these machines, and he's gained a lot of confidence in the Elantra, especially with the support of Pure Sims Esports. And we've not really looked at many Audis yet, actually. We've got Simtech Racing Black Audi of Maxime Janssens and Anton Dupin in the Flemish SimSports by Viraco machine, and they are the only 2 Audis on the grid at the moment, but both of them are currently in the pit lane, so we're not going to be able to have a good look at them yet. But there are some bright and beautiful machines on the circuit, and there is now going to be no cars on the circuit in about 3, 2, 1. Okay, maybe I miscounted. Oh, well, I always do that. I think I'm going to get all cocky and clever and get it right, but no. Anyway, qualifying now. Now, it is an open qualifying session, so everyone is going to be on track at the same time. How easy do you think it's going to be to find a bit of clear space around here? Well, I mean, pretty easy if you're Ignium by the look of it.
Yeah, your position in the pit lane is based on where you finish in the in that practice session. So yeah, those guys want to get out as quick as possible so they can all be together and draft each other around. Now, in the past in this championship, what we've seen is the tyres are at their best on maybe the 2nd or 3rd lap. But from what I've tested, what I've driven in these cars over the last few days, the tyres, it takes a long time to get the tyres warmed up, and a 10-minute qualifying is not long at all for not just to get a decent lap in.
Yeah, definitely. Drivers have to think about getting a banker lap in as well, and even that might be quite a challenge, to be honest with you. But yeah, we certainly have a great list of cars and drivers all making their way out now. And as you often see with champions, you know, these guys are not messing about, are they? Ignium Preben Vala is going for it straight off the bat now, pushing through the chicane. He's going to hopefully try and challenge his teammate at the top of the standings. It'll be great to see a sort of inter-team battle as the championship goes on. Ignium will certainly come into this with confidence, though, won't they, that they can take the team's championship?
Yeah, absolutely. They did that last season in the dominant style. It's going to be interesting to see how they're going to draft each other around, because in the past these cars, they draft very, very well, which is perhaps not the most realistic thing, but in our racing that was the quickest way around. So it looks like at the moment they're leaving each other quite a decent gap. Maybe they're just going to get a bank lap in on their own first and then try and do the messing around and trying to get toe and that later on in the session.
Yeah, you have to really treat this session in sections, don't you, really? You have to think about it bit by bit. Out of the final corner now then comes Preben Vala, and look at the run that he gets. He takes a nice wide line around the final corner and gets a good slingshot down the start-finish straight. Fantastic grandstand on the left-hand side. It's a wonderful place to watch some motor racing, is that grandstand on the left. I've been really lucky to stand up there a couple of times and watch numerous different championships. Now, through turn one, using quite a lot of runoff on the exit, but you can go quite far out there without getting a tell enough for it. And next up comes one of the most difficult corners on the circuit. Turn 2, it's a downhill, curved braking zone. It tightens on the apex and then opens up again. But in a front-wheel drive car like this, especially when you've got to get the weight transfer sorted, going over left to right through turn 3, it is a pig of a corner. Up towards turn 4, flat left kink in most cars, not in a TCR car. And you can see and feel the understeer from Preben there as it goes sideways. That felt absolutely disgusting up there in a front-wheel drive car.
Might have even been an off-track there as well, Chaz.
Yeah, I think he has overdone it slightly. He's still pushing though, so we'll see whether the lap goes valid. Now, what about this chicane, Matt? Because, I mean, it's so easy to just cut it a little bit too much in there in most cars, but in TCRs you can get away with it a little bit.
Yeah, you're almost restricted by the slowdown penalty you get if you cut it too much. But yeah, Jakub Szymanski in the chat saying that the track limits rules are going to be different, obviously, in the race compared to qualifying, because in the qualifying you're restricted to the track limits that iRacing set, whereas in the rule book drivers are actually allowed to use the AstroTurf and the curbs, obviously not stupidly wide, but they are allowed to go perhaps a bit wider than iRacing would normally let them.
Yeah, that's it, and obviously you don't want to invalidate a lap. We get incident points here in iRacing. For those of you that do not know, if you go outside of track limits, or what is determined as track limits, then you will get what is known as a 1x, or one times an incident point, and that will invalidate your lap time if you go outside of track limits. Any sort of incident point will do that. First time on the board this season then is going to come from, well, I'm thinking it's going to come from Taylor Flatten, and it does, a 155.077. So you were absolutely right, Matt. That is an invalidated time by Preben Vala, and now he's got to do the work again. Ben Hicks has gone second, Hakon Asker's gone third, Anton Dupin fourth, now moves down to fifth with Tim Perry filling in. Let's see who goes fastest in our AM class, shall we? We've got Rob Jackson just coming to the line. See what he can manage. We're not really going to see much of a pace difference between the two classes, though, are we? It's all going to be on paper.
No, we're not, but these times they're doing now are a long, long way off what they were doing in practice. As I said, these tyres take a long time to come in. In practice, Flatten's fastest time was in the 53s, and you can see just under 55. So you can see how long it's going to take them to get up to pace, and the times are just going to keep tumbling as we go down, as the session goes on, which is how we like qualifying to be, isn't it, Chaz? We want the best times to come right at the end of the session when for maximum excitement.
Yeah, definitely. We like a fast time at the death, don't we? I think everybody does, really. Luke Jones is going to be the next car to cross the line in the JW Motorsport Hyundai Elantra. He's another one that doesn't seem to have the decal layer on. He was originally down to drive an Audi RS3. Poor thing. Cross the line goes Luke, and that looks like, to me, actually, that was not a valid time at all. So he, again, does not complete a time. Tom Van Put is going to be next up for Snail Speed in the Civic. He goes 9th. He puts it 9th, you could say. Sam Smith next up. I know, there's going to be a lot of that, don't you worry. Simtech Racing, this very striking-looking machine. It seems to be one of the iRacing liveries that they've recoloured, actually. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know what I mean? The front end looks like one of the standard iRacing liveries.
It does. They just look like they've slapped some logos on top of it. But yeah, when these cars are all lined up on the grid, it's going to look amazing, isn't it? All the different shapes and sizes and colours. It's what makes a touring car grid, isn't it?
It really is. There's a lot of real estate on touring cars for you to paint nicely. Taylor Flatten goes 1.9 seconds faster than Ben Hicks. Even with Ben improving, he's still 1.2 seconds clear. I wanted to quickly bring your attention to this man, John Roberts, in the Honda Civic Type R for Boosted Motorsport. Now, he's running a Ukrainian Air Force digital camouflage pattern from an Su-27 P1M flanker on his machine. Yes, I am an aviation nerd. But he is doing that, obviously, to show his support for Ukraine and the wonderful people there. They're having, I'm not going to say a great time of it at the moment, but they're certainly starting to push the Russians back in terms of that campaign. It's not something we're going to go on about much because politics doesn't really have much of a place here in motorsport. But still, it is great to see that they are withstanding what the Russians have been doing. And, of course, we wish them all the best and hope everyone out there is all right. So, Taylor Flatten fastest, Hakon Ask in second place. Still no valid time on the board, though, from Preben Valler.
Yeah, and it looks like Flatten's backed off slightly on this lap to perhaps help his teammates. Actually no personal best sectors from either, though. Barley's under 40.5 in the first sector, so yes, that's a good first sector for him, so hopefully he gets this lap in.
Now, interestingly enough, I think actually what's happened there is Valler has dropped behind Flatten when he was on his lap, maybe giving him slipstream to get that pole time, and now they're trying to do the opposite again. Now Flatten's saying, right, I've got a quick time on the board, let's try and sort you out now, son, and get you up on there on the list. Now Sam Smith's about to cross the line, as we saw him before in the Simtech Racing Veloster. Seems to get quite a smooth run out of the final corner. Doesn't use all the curb, though. Don't think it's going to be a pole position time, but it's at least going to be a valid one. And, well, it was close enough, wasn't it? Third place, flipping heck. Fair play by Sam Smith. No disrespect at all, Sunshine, but I was not expecting that to be that pace. That was a fantastic time, in all fairness. There we go. Preben Valler goes second fastest, a 55.1. 54.5 from his teammate, though. Currently gives him fastest time. Then it's Ben Hicks. Then it's Hakon Ask, who again improves. He's only a few thousandths off his teammate. Sam Smith next up. Niles Mansanden is currently the fastest in the AM class in 8th position overall. He's run wide out the final corner and invalidated that one. And look behind him, it's Yorkshire T-Sports, Martin Kenyon. I was looking forward to seeing this car out of track. Look at the livery on this thing. Fantastic.
That's brilliant. It's brilliant. Watch out for Morgan Butler, Chaz. He's gone purple in sector 2, so... here he is coming up towards the line, is he?
No, he's already gone.
No,
he's already
gone.
past.
So it must have been invalidated then, because he was purple in sector 2.
So Morgan Butler showing that he has got the pace of the guys at the very front, but just not able to stick a clean lap together. We've still got a good 7 drivers that haven't actually put a clean time in, make that 6 now. Luke Jones, Jose Scully, Morgan Butler, John Roberts, Stephen Norman and Mark Redford, some of the most English names you will hear. Here is Mark Redford in the Pro Alloys Civic.
Some of these guys aren't even going to get a lap in because there's a minute left in the session, and because it's a heat racing format session, the clock stops. It stops when you get to 10 minutes. You can't complete your lap once the checkered flag comes out. So there's a lot of guys who are actually in a bit of trouble.
There certainly is. Good spot, actually. Nicely done. Morgan Butler goes on to another fast lap here. Tom Van Putt has improved his times, but he stays put. Sam Smith is going to be next up. John Roberts is going to finish his lap as well. He really needs to get a time on the board. He's only got 25 seconds to cross the line. He's surely going to do that. But look at how much he's trying to tuck the Civic in down the inside. Is Taylor Flatten going to take the first pole position of the season? Certainly looks likely. Where's John Roberts going to end up? 20th place. Not really the lap he would have wanted. And Morgan Butler is not going to get a time on the board, is he? He is going to join Stephen Norman, Mark Redford and Jose Scully all the way down the order.
Yeah, Ben Hicks just gone second, Hakon Ask just gone third. They got those times in just as the checkered flag came out.
Wow, oh wow, and that is exactly what we wanted, a nice, fast qualifying finish. So, let's fly through this grid then. Taylor Flatten on pole position alongside his teammate Ben Hicks. Then it's Hakon Ask with Preben Valler in 4th. Ignium 1, 2, 3, 4. Nick Clibbins and Ben Gregory make up row 3 ahead of Thomas Layson and Anton Dupin on row 4. Then Maxime Janssens, the fastest of the AMs, ahead of Sam Smith. Then it's Tim Perry and Niles Mansanden on row 6. Martin Shirley and Ian Manners on row 7. Ahead of Ben Thanes and Luke Jones. Then it's Jason Morris and Rob Jackson on row 9. Tom Van Putt and John Roberts round out your top 20. Martin Kenyon for Yorkshire T-Sports lines up alongside Jason Guerrara. Then it's Morgan Butler and Stephen Norman with Mark Redford and Jose Scully at the back of the grid. So that is a certain turn up for the Bucks Morgan all the way back there. Who's your money on then with this
I
one,
knew
Matt?
this was coming.
You've heard me do it too many times.
Yeah. It's got to be Flatten, hasn't it? He was so far ahead. I know he's got Ignium teammates behind him, but he was so far ahead of them in qualifying, and I can't see anyone else beating him, to be honest.
No, I completely agree. Certainly looking good. There might be quite a bit of slipstreaming going on down the start-finish straight, but I don't think this is the sort of circuit where it's going to make enough of a difference to separate them all and mean that there's a definite sort of swapping of position. It's not going to be like IndyCar pack racing. So we have Hyundais in the top 7 spots, and then 2 Audis actually. Anton Dupin, as you can see on the left-hand side of the screen there, is the highest-placed Audi ahead of Maxime Janssens, his countryman.
Watch out for those Audis at the start, because the Audi is particularly good at starts, so watch for those two making progress.
We just wait now for Sam Smith to fill that grid spot on the left, and boop, there he is. And the first race in the new NEVO TCR Series from the Hungaroring, round 1 of the championship with car 1, P1 on the grid, is underway. There's a lot of smoke from further down the order. Somebody definitely lighting up the clutch. And there's a number of cars that have jumped up really quickly. Someone that's flying up the order is Maxime Janssens. 2 places gained already off the start. Went right through the middle, but look at that. Terje Flatten has to defend from his teammate Hakon Ask around the outside. Preben Valler behind him. It's Norwegians 1, 2, 3 going into turn 1. There's a little bit of argy-bargy further back, and sideways Ben Thayens. There's a car backwards, and there's a lot more cars around.
Oh, man. That's not what we wanted to see at the start. There are a lot of cars involved in that.
Niles Mansanden's in it. John Roberts didn't fly under the radar in his flanker. There's a number of cars wide at turn 2 as well. Everybody recovering just about, but at the very front it's Terje Flatten doing a great job leading the way in the Velostras. Whoa, coming back on. Oh no, that was Ben Gregory back on the circuit into Thomas Layson. Oh, I know Ben was trying really hard to get the car back on as soon as possible, but that was a really poor rejoin by Ben. And he's way off the road as well. I think there's something broken.
Yeah, well, these cars are really hard to handle on cold tyres since the new iRacing update, and yeah, a few of these guys getting caught out. Of course, these guys would have not done a single racing lap in racing conditions probably since then, so they're all finding out really for the first time.
Watch Morgan Butler here, carving through. I think there was a little bit of netcode involved in that one, but at the same time, Ben Gregory gets sent into space by Morgan Butler. He will not take that one lying down. We've got Velosters all up near the front, but it's a Norwegian 1, 2, 3. Terje Flatten, Preben Valler and Hakon Ask at the moment, and it's an Ignium 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the Simtech car of Nick Clibbens. Let's have another look back at that start though, Matt, and try and piece together what on God's earth happened here.
Yeah, we'll see. The actual launches were relatively clean. As you can see, there's some cars getting off the line better than others, but yeah, it's coming up towards turn 1 where it's all about to kick off.
Yeah, Niles Mansanden in the white and red Hyundai Elantra in the middle was involved, so he's got a car on his left. There's a little bit of a touch on the way in. John Roberts is there. Niles moves across on John, and then John comes back on, and yeah, then he basically becomes a roadblock. So yeah, we were looking at Niles because he was the car that basically got involved in it, but it was actually him that started it, unfortunately, moving over a little bit on the brakes. But as you've mentioned though, they're hard to handle on cold tyres, and to be fair, I know that these cars do warble around, as I say, on the brakes quite a lot. You know, you'll hit the brakes and it'll decide whether it wants to turn right or left. They never stay in a straight line, do they?
No, they certainly don't. And that's actually the best way of driving these cars. You want to try and use the rear tyre as much as possible. And that sounds slightly strange with a front-wheel drive car, but it just takes some of the pressure off the front axle of the car. And these races, 25 minutes in length, tyre wear will become an issue towards the end.
Now, this is Ben Hicks, who is having some serious issues here with the rear end of his Veloster. It is all over the show, and he's been overtaken. He was like 2nd or 3rd, wasn't he, not long ago? He was in 4th place, and he's been overtaken by Nick Clibbens, and he keeps dropping places here. Sam Smith has just definitely cut that chicane. I'm surprised he's not got a slowdown penalty for that one. There's a definite cut, but look, the Velosters are all over the show here. It may be the quick car at the moment, but by God, it's loose.
Certainly is. Anton Dupin is using that opportunity to carve his way through this pack here. He's got the inside here into what is a quick right-hander here, and still side by side through this middle sector section. But now he's having to look at his mirrors because he's got Janssens.
Oh no, man!
Oh, that's such a shame.
Anton Dupin will be rather upset with that one. I know that Anton is a man that takes his racing very seriously, and that will go down like a cup of cold sick with Anton Dupin. Let's have another look. So side by side.
He just moves across ever so slightly in the braking zone.
Yeah, it's very easy to do, but yeah, at the end of the day, that's just how TCR cars behave on the brakes. Now, Maxime Janssens is leading the AM class at the moment, doing a great job for Simtech Racing Black, even looking down the inside of Tim Perry, one of the pro drivers for Boosted Simsport. Don't really need to get involved in that one, Maxime. You can just sit there and be happy, because Martin Shirley is now, well, 2 cars back. I was going to say he was only 1 car back, but now with Ben Thanes trying to push forward in the Flemish Simsports Hyundai, who also doesn't have a decal layer, he's trying to get around the outside into turn 2. That's nice stuff, that. Very nice indeed. But still, the battles rage on, don't they, mate? Flipping heck.
Yes, intense stuff in the mid-pack, but not the front. Flattened 1.4 seconds over Varley. He knows he can just not take it easy as such, but he can just drive, just not have to look in the mirrors, not have to worry about the gap. Just as we look back slightly further down the order here.
This is just what happened to Ben Hicks. Just the back end just goes. I don't know if he'd had contact or anything, but the back end just goes on him, and then from that point on, that's where we saw him struggling quite a lot. Yeah,
a lot of drivers struggling with the rear of their cars, particularly the Velosters, as Jason Guerrero there losing the rear end of his Honda.
Seems like it's easy to do there at turn 2, doesn't it, to be honest with you? The back end really does go around quite quickly on these things. I say quickly, though. It breaks away quickly, but it does this really annoying, slow, numb, horrible slide, doesn't it, where it floats sideways for ages before you get control again.
Yeah, the best thing to do in that situation is just to bury the throttle and just hope that you bring the rear around again. But then, of course, if you don't, you end up going even harder into the wall. Steve Norman clips the grass down to the on the entry to the final corner there, and he's going to lose a couple of positions possibly.
That was a fantastic slide. And look, even the car behind him as well, actually. That would have been Ben Thanes. He did it as well, but he managed to recover it back onto the racing line. Excellent entertainment. And now look, they're 3 wide into turn 1.
Yeah, here we go then. So Norman decided he doesn't want any of this on the outside. Let the two in front of him go at it, and hopefully he can pick up the pieces.
Well, he's going to try. He's on the outside line into turn 2, but if you can hold it around the outside here without hitting the Veloster in front of you, you can end up on the inside into turn 3. And oh, look at that cutback there by Martin Shirley. And surely he's going to get the job done. No, he's not. It looks like very good defensive work from Ben Thanes. Ben raced in the Simracersworld TCR Series, as this was a few seasons ago, and Ben is very impressive. He was really good fun to watch. Always exciting as, whoa, way out wide goes Martin Shirley. Surely that can't be the fastest way around there, and yep, you're right. You're right, that probably will be a slowdown, but it doesn't seem to be slowing down yet.
No, certainly not, and Norman's in there goes slowing down now. Sensible place to do it before the braking zone to the next corner. But then look, Morgan Butler is up to 12th position already. He's up 11 places from his starting position. Avoided all that chaos at the start, and he's slowly picking them off now. Let's
not forget as well, Stephen Norman, who we were watching there, actually, he started 24th on the grid, on the penultimate row, actually, just ahead, or actually just behind Morgan Butler, actually. So he is now flying through the field. He's gained 14 places. You're right, Morgan Butler's gained 11. Mark Redford's having a belter of a race. He's gained 10 spots from where he started. He's currently, in his class anyway, in 5th place in the AMS. Maxime Janssens continues to lead that. Mark's got the Yorkshire T-Sports machine behind him. But up at the front, still trading purple sectors, it's the 3 Ignium Motorsport machines. Terje Flaten, Preben Vala and Hakon Ask. Epic stuff. There's a purple lap time again from Terje Flaten.
Yeah, what can you say about this team? They do such a brilliant job in not just TCR racing, in all sorts of different classes, GT racing. Yeah, and how many cars have they got in this series? It's a lot, isn't it?
I think they've got 6.
6, yeah.
Well, there's 3 normal, as we're going to call them, normal Ignium Motorsport cars, 2 Blaze and 2 Sparks as well, I believe. So, yeah, they've certainly got a number of them, and like we said before, strength in numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in positions with Alcantech where we've had 6, 7 cars in a series, and I know when if you're trying to compete against that, it's incredibly hard to think, oh, why can a team be allowed to bring 7 cars? But
Well, to be honest, if Silas is in the team, then I'm sure he'll just crash into all of you anyway. Jose Scully has had a moment, and he has decided to pull over to one side. That's a very strange place to park, but something has gone on for him there, I'm afraid. Thomas Layson has then had a problem in his Hyundai. Whoa! That says either T is done or hardware failure.
yes, yeah, an outside issue there of some sort.
Definitely. Very, very strange. Unfortunately, though, it happens. That's just sim racing, I'm afraid. It's like getting a mechanical failure in the real world of motorsport. So, let's just have a little recap then, shall we, at the top 10 in each class. Terje Flaten leads the way. Then it's Preben Vala. Hakon Ask is in third place ahead of Nick Clibbens, Ben Hicks, Sam Smith and Tim Perry. Maxime Janssens leads the AM class at the moment. Then it is Ben Thayens in 9th place overall, 8th in his class ahead of Stephen Norman, and Morgan Butler up to 11th now with 12 places gained. Martin Shirley just 2 cars ahead of the man we're watching now, is second in the AM class. Rob Jackson in the Veloster just in front of Luke Jones, who we're watching here, is currently on the final podium spot in the AM class, 13th overall with Luke Jones 14th. Mark Redford just coming through the backer shot now has made his way up into 15th place ahead of Martin Kenyon. Martin's another one actually where I've watched him before. These two usually race together in the ovals scene, and I've commentated on them before in many a championship, and they've both been in and around a number of my series as well before actually. Martin has taken on the Chaz Draycott Media Formula 1 World Championship this season, and bearing in mind he's going from driving NASCAR trucks to a Pro Mazda. It's quite the change, to be honest with you, but he's doing an amazing job, and he's given another different car a go now as well within the NEVO community, and that is the Honda Civic Type R in a TCR championship, and hats off to him. He's doing a smashing job.
Yeah, do you know what? If you enjoy driving the different sorts of cars, do it. I know a lot of people specialise in one different car. I'm the sort of person as well. I like to jump in different things. Sometimes I fancy it, sometimes TCR racing. It's just whatever you feel like.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the great thing about iRacing is there are all these different sorts of racing. There's oval racing, which is completely different to road racing here in Europe.
Yeah, it's a completely different kettle of fish, isn't it? It's just amazing the amount of variation that you can have on iRacing. And I mean, even these TCR cars that we have here, you know, you can replicate a sort of European touring car championship, and you can have an American TCR series, and TCR cars can be in multi-class championships as well that race alongside prototypes and GT cars. They are a very versatile class of machine. Now, look at this. Morgan Butler is now back with Stephen Norman. The two of them have been making their way through the field together so far during this race, and Morgan has just about now got to the point where he can smell blood in the water, and he realises that Stephen is getting to the tough nuts to crack and trying to get past Maxime Janssens, who leads the AM class. May as well start calling him Maxime Janssens. That was bottom of the barrel. I've got splinters.
Yeah. I didn't know what to say. I was just going to move on. Anyway, you saw Stephen Norman there. He was almost like he knew that he had the AM class leader ahead of him. He gave him a bit of extra space there, so that was nice to see a couple of corners ago.
Yeah, it's good respect, isn't it? I mean, I'm sure you'll agree that a lot of the time in these championships, if you do have a pro and an AM class, and you get the faster drivers in the series making their way through drivers that normally aren't as quick as them on paper, you often see, I don't want to say a lack of respect, but a lack of patience from some faster drivers, you know. They will often not try to push their way through, but they won't have that sort of patience where they know that slower drivers will brake earlier than them, or may get a bit of a poorer exit, or take a different line. You know, there's a little mistake there by Maxime Janssens, run was wide, but Stephen Norman being really respectful. Down the inside on the brakes to the chicane. We've seen that he's great there already, although he's clipped the chicane a little bit hard as, oh no! Morgan Butler clipped there by Maxime Janssens. Nothing untoward about it from Maxime, but at the end of the day, he still had to make the corner, didn't he? And now...
Yeah, that was unlucky. And Maxime there was just trying to give space to Stephen Norman there, and unfortunately, Morgan Butler was just following. I'm not going to say on purposely following a bit too closely, but it's just a convergence of lines there.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, Morgan got it. I think it's just... He got the advantage anyway, you know. He had the run, but I think with the speed that he tried to carry through there, I think he expected Maxime just to run a little bit wider maybe, or just straight line the chicane, but unfortunately still made the corner, so there was contact. This is a great battle, side by side, Ben Thayens and Tim Perry. Tim's another one that's been racing in the Chaz Draycott Media Formula 1 World Championship, and I've been watching Ben Thanes for years, since I started commentating on iRacing actually, and he continues to impress me.
And the Honda's struggling in this straight line there. The Honda's the weakest car in straight line performance, and you saw it visually there. Tim Perry was almost through the last corner and completely lost out there going down the straight.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? But at the end of the day, it's just like having GT cars in GT racing, where they can be very different kettle of fish in certain elements of a circuit. You know, you can have some of them in a straight line that are like absolute rocket ships, but then other times, you know, certain cars will be an absolute boat in a straight line, but it'll handle really well when it comes to throwing it into a corner. It's what's exciting about having a class championship, and obviously different cars within that. You know, what would it be? Multi-make championship? Not one, basically a non-one-make series. I can't find the words for it.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say.
I'll get there one day.
Just 4 seconds now, the gap up front between Varley and Flatten.
Starting
slowly, slowly just edging it out. Hakon Ask is only a second away from Varley, pushing him hard. And
Nick Clibbens is doing a good job as well in 4th place, actually. His teammate Sam Smith isn't too far behind Ben Hicks either. So it is literally Simtech, the one without the H, and Ignium Motorsport at the front of this pack. The top 6 is all their cars at the moment. Ben Thanes now for Flemish Sim Sports by Viraco is the next car up. I'm just giving the paints a refresh so we can get some of the decal layers loaded on, because I've just updated a few of them. I've noticed 1 or 2 over the course of the race that just weren't quite right, and my OCD does not let me leave it as it is. So we've done 15.5 minutes this race now. Taya Flatten still leads the way and is flying at the front of this pack for Ignium Motorsport. We've got a few battles going on up and down the order. Stephen Norman here in 9th place, 15 places gained, biggest mover in the field. Morgan Butler is into the pits. I wonder whether he got a meatball flag for that damage earlier.
Oh yeah, possibly. It was actually a significant hit with the guardrail, perhaps pushed the suspension instantly.
And he's... oh no. Is he out? Well, he got out of the car very quickly.
Yeah, strange that he stopped. Normally you just uncheck your tyres and fuel, take your fast repair and on your way.
Is it me, or did he stop the car in the pit lane and has then it's jumped forward down the pit lane?
Just have to have a look. Strange circumstances if that it was the case. We'll see here if he comes down the pit lane now. Oh, that was... he didn't even bother stopping for the pit speed line there, so yeah, clearly no... he didn't have any intention of carrying on.
No, I think maybe he has come in to maybe get the meatball sorted, and then he's realised he was speeding in the pits, and then he's just realised that might be race over, unfortunately.
Well, it'll be exciting to see him come through from the back once again in the second race.
Yeah.
Of course, the grid for the second race will be based on the result from this first race, but with the top 6 inverted.
Yes, indeed.
At the moment, Sam Smith's in that position, and quite comfortably in that position actually. He's got no threat from behind.
No, 5.5 seconds back to Ben Thanes from Sam Smith, so nothing to worry about at all. Looks fantastic from here, that car. It looks like a very cartoony design, doesn't it? I like it a lot, especially with the metallics on the front end of it as well.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. I'll give it that.
Great view as well, actually, from back here. I edited some of these cameras for a trailer that I did using the TCR cars for another championship, and I just managed to keep them this way because I think it looks great. It looks like a proper TV camera, whereas the usual suspension cameras on iRacing are sort of suspended about a foot away from the car, as if they've got the camera on some sort of boom, and we all know that they don't do that. Now, this is a 3-way fight in the AM class here, and this is for the final podium spot in the class. Now, Luke Jones has gained 3 places, Rob Jackson's gained 6, but Mark Redford, behind these pair, has gained 11 spots from where he started, so Mark is properly on a charge here and could actually get a class podium from right near the back of the grid.
Whoa! Trying to get 2 for 1 there. Oh, that's a bit of contact. That's what we like to see in touring car racing,
Yeah.
fair, friendly contact. And they're getting past both of them is...
Luke Jones.
Luke Jones, yeah. Luke Jones getting past the pair of them.
Well, it was nice to see in a way that while there was contact, it was an innocent mistake by Mark, but he didn't get away with it, you know what I mean? He didn't gain the place, and Rob didn't lose out massively. So Luke Jones just mugging the pair of them there with that one. Let's have a look from on board with Luke Jones at exactly how that one came about for him. So you'll see now Mark will throw it down the inside. He's hard on the brakes. He nearly gets it stopped, and there's just that tiny touch, and Luke says, cheers very much, boys. I'll go down the inside, and I will see you in a bit.
And he wouldn't have meant that. The small contact we saw there was just one of those things. He went for the dive down the inside of one car, and he thought, I'm not going to make this without touching the guy head. But yeah, no malice there. Just one of those things.
We've got Morgan Butler in the YouTube chat saying that he's lost 4 seconds a lap because he hit the wall at 40 kilometres an hour. And it's just, well, one of those things, I think, with TCR cars. We often say it with touring cars and things like this, that their suspension is made of cracker bread, and it really is sometimes. We've all seen how many times in the British Touring Car Championship a toe link can get broken with wheel-to-wheel contact, and a side-on hit like that will break the suspension of a TCR car. You know, I've seen it before where a TCR car has hit a curb hard enough at Imola. It was actually one of one Fiat Tipo TCRs as well. They were using it as a bit of a prototype in the Italian TCR Championship. And he hit the first curb at Tamburello that hard with the left rear. The entire axle came off, and then the car bounced over it and rolled over in the gravel and absolutely made a very big mess of it. That's just how soft these TCR cars can be underneath.
Then sometimes you see them getting quite significant hits and they carry on just fine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could crash into them with a truck and they'd be all right.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about the Veloster, though. I think it looks fantastic, the Veloster. I'm not sure. Well, I'm not too sure on the back. It looks very, very odd at the back, but I think the front of it looks amazing. But it looks like a car that you could drop it off a cliff and it'd be absolutely fine. It's really beefy, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like somebody's rammed it from behind already.
Yeah, oh, it does. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
We need to keep our eye on Anton Dupin because he's making his way back through the order now after his earlier incident. He's side by side here with Luke Jones around the outside into turn 4, getting even more roughed up as he goes through there. And then hard onto the brakes. Oh, back end steps out for Anton. And all of a sudden he's under attack by Rob Jackson again. This is the thing.
Yeah, and of course these guys still battling for that final class podium, so Anton will hopefully respect that hopefully and let these guys crack on because they've not got many laps left remaining in this race.
No, we've passed 20 minutes now. Actually, we've just hit 21 minutes already in this race, which is quite amazing how quickly it goes. 2 races over the course of the night. We have a 5-minute warm-up in between, at which point Matt and I will go and rest our voices and get a drink, i.e. I can't be bothered. I'm only joking, Jakob, I love you. Ben Hicks here in 5th place. I tell you, Flatton's done another fastest lap, 1:54.5. That's amazing.
He's been consistently half a second faster than Varley in second the entire race. Every time I've looked over at our timing screen, it's constantly half a second quicker than anyone else.
Very impressive. But look at this. Jakub Szymanski's just said he thinks that Sam Smith is holding back so he gets pole position in race 2. And I think you're right, you know. I think at this early point of the championship, he's just sitting there. He's going to bank some points for getting 6th place in the race, and he's going to see what he can do when it comes to race 2. Only the top 6 gets inverted, so that is literally all of these Ignium cars and the 2 Simtech cars, and then everybody else is just going to have to watch as they probably do battle once again. But it's just enough cars to have reversed that it'll still keep it interesting, isn't it?
It is. Do you know what? Jakub's absolutely right. I would be doing the same thing if I was in his position. I'd rather take pole for the second race than take potential or risk going for another position in this race.
Now, I'm just having a look back in the Discord as what was going on during qualifying, and John Roberts is saying that oh no, that's Luke Jones and Anton Dupin getting very friendly with one another.
Whoa.
Maybe a bit too friendly. Oh, Luke,
on,
what was that, mate? Nah, we don't condone that. We do not condone any of that. I'm not sure what has gone on beforehand or whoa, what is going on there. But that is getting out of hand, I think, is the phrase for that one. Very out of hand. Or actually, is the car broken? Look at the left rear. You know what? I think he's lost the left rear because look, the left is properly banged in.
He's meatball for sure.
Yeah, I don't think that was a retaliation from Luke and turning into the side of Anton there. I think genuinely he's actually just something is broken on the left rear. Let's have a look. So the side by side round there.
Right there, must be there.
Yeah,
It must have been, that door-to-door contact they had through turn 3 there.
That's strange because he hit him with the right-hand side of the car, but it broke the left rear suspension. And that's a frightening rejoin from Anton as well. Poor Martin Kenyon. Flipping heck, he'll need a brew after that. But these are the nightmares you see at the start of a season sometimes, I'm afraid.
Yeah, everyone's getting used to racing each other. Of course, okay, some drivers returning from last season, but some new drivers coming in. You get used to who you're racing with, who you can race harder than others, who you need to give a bit more space to. And over the course of these first couple of races, the drivers we don't know, we've got Luke Jones in the pits.
Yeah, that left rear will be completely written off. That'll be definitely a meatball. It was pushed a good 6 inches out of place, that. Now, we've got only about half a lap to go here, and Taylor Flatten is going to continue how he left off last season. The reigning champion, Car 1, P1, has been since lap 1, and it is going to be an epic start to the campaign for him. His teammate Preben Vala is fallen 6 seconds behind now, but he's still doing well. Hakon Ask is third, and that means it's going to be an Ignium 1-2-3. Ignium Motorsport 1-2, Ignium Motorsport Blaze in third, ahead of Simtech Racing's Nick Clibbens. But it's also going to be a hell of a start to the campaign for the Norwegians. We only have 3 Norwegian drivers in this championship. I mean, that's more than you get in most championships. But they're all going to be on the podium here, Matt.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. I don't think it's going to be the last time you're going to be saying that either this season.
No, I don't think so either, to be fair. But with 2 corners left to go, the reigning champion for Ignium Motorsport, Taylor Flatten, is going to certainly make his mark on this new season in the NEVO TCR Series. It may be a new name for the championship and a new image, but it is still the same race winner. Fantastic stuff to get the season underway by Flatten, and he has flattened the competition, you could say. Absolutely dominant stuff. Preben Vala is going to finish second, and Hakon Ask is going to be in third, with Nick Clibbens behind, then Ben Hicks and Sam Smith in a race to the line. But Sam Smith is going to get pole for race 2, isn't he there, Matt? A great drive by him all the same.
Yeah, he didn't even... He almost looked like he was just protecting that 6th position, didn't he? And be interesting to see come race 2 how well he does go starting from the front.
Maxime Janssens takes the win in the AM class ahead of his teammate Martin Shirley for Simtech Racing Black. It's a 1-2 for those. And look at this. From 25th on the grid to an AM podium, Mark Redford, take a bow, son. What a fantastic start to the campaign that is. Absolutely lovely stuff. Well done to Mark. He'll take that one home all day. Great performance. It's going to be close across the line here further down. This is Ian Manners, definitely showing a lack of manners there down the inside of Tom Van Putt. And at the very final moments of the race, Manners gets the position over him, and they're going to continue accelerating over the line. And I think we may see a bit of an angry Tom Van Putt there with that one. Let's just have a quick look at how this came about. That's not too bad, actually.
He left half a gap, and Manners went for it.
And you know what? That was good manners from Van Putt there. That was really nicely done. That was perfect stuff. So, we already have a race winner in the form of Taylor Flatten, and he's done an amazing job. That was exactly how you start a campaign, isn't it?
Certainly is. And the second race, normally in the touring car race, we've got 3 races. If you win the first 2 races, then you can afford a slightly, let's say, mediocre final race. So Flatten, maybe he can go from 6th to win the race, but he'll just be hoping for a clean one, I'm sure, just to start the season off.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think with starting in 6th position on a grid like this, it's going to be very, very tough, because they are the real tough nuts to crack. Is one of my favourite ever Murray Walker phrases, that. So, Taylor Flatten wins. Preben Vala second, with Hakon Ask in 3rd place. Excuse me. Nick Clibbens in 4th for Simtech Racing. Great to see them make their mark on the championship as well. He's ahead of Ben Hicks in 5th. And then Sam Smith in 6th place. Ben Thayens recovers to 7th place ahead of Stephen Norman. What a great drive that was from him, by the way, right near the back of the grid up to 8th. Tim Perry finishes 9th. Maxime Janssens gets a top 10 and wins the AM class in doing so. Martin Shirley, his teammate, right behind. Mark Redford rounds out the AM podium. Anton Dupin finishes 13th after another recovery from him. Rob Jackson is 14th. He had a very quiet race. Ben Gregory, after his earlier incidents, finishes 15th. Martin Kenyon 16th ahead of Ian Manners and Tom Van Putt, the 2 drivers that we just saw at the very end of that race there. Behind them, we have Jason Morris finishing his first race in 19th ahead of Luke Jones, who rounds out the top 20. So he does actually get to the end as Luke, with a potential fast repair near the end. Niles Mansanden, after the early incident, is 21st ahead of Jason Guerrara. John Roberts is 1 lap down. Morgan Butler, Thomas Layson and Jose Scully are out of the race. So we've got warm-up going on right now, Matt, but we're just going to take a quick break. What can everybody expect to see in the second race, do you think?
More of the same, I'm sure. More of the same action, some great racing. Hopefully they keep it a bit cleaner, though, because there was a few incidents in that one which were a little bit unnecessary, but we've got the faster guys starting a little bit further back, so it'd be interesting to see them coming through.
It certainly will. So if you just hang around, everybody, Matt and I will be back with you in just a few minutes here on Chaz Draycott Media for the NEVO TCR Series from the Hungaroring. See you in a sec.
Stop the time, 'cause I wanna freeze this moment. Make it mine, hold you close. Now my heart's wide open. When I'm with you, suddenly I feel no pain. Do you make it go away? Do you make it? Stop the time, 'cause I wanna freeze this moment. Make it mine, hold you close. Now my heart's wide open. When I'm with you, suddenly I feel no pain. Do you make it go away? Do you make it? Do you make it go away?
Hello again, everybody. Chaz Draycott and Matthew Crisp here for the NEVO TCR Series on Chaz Draycott Media. We're back now just ahead of the second race. The cars are all about to disappear off the track, and we're going to get the final race underway. It's going to be basically the same finishing result that you saw from the first race with the top 6 reversed. But just as a quick recap, Matt, what can these drivers expect now ahead of them with this very difficult circuit?
Yeah, we know overtaking's hard around this track, so they've just got to pick their moments. Main overtaking opportunities that we've seen so far, just turn 1 and turn 2. Middle of the sector of the lap, it is possible to overtake, but it's tough as we've seen. But here's the grid.
Sam Smith will start on pole position ahead of Ben Hicks after a great battle in the first race. Nick Clibbins and Hakon Ask will be on row 2. Then Preben Vala and race 1 winner Telja Flaten will be on row 3. And that's basically just 2 teams that have been reversed there. Ahead of Ben Thanes, Stephen Norman, Tim Perry and Maxime Janssens round out the 10. Basically everybody is on the grid now, all ready to go. So this race is about to start. You can see the 2 Simtech cars on the left-hand side of the grid, and then you've got a stream of Ignium cars behind them. There is actually, by the look of it, there are 5 Ignium cars in the top 8 for the start of this race. So they have got a definite lockout near the front of this field. Let's see what they do then as the second race in the NEVO TCR Series from the Hungaroring gets underway. There's plenty of wheel spin further back from one of the Flemish Audis, and somebody has not got away in the Veloster. There's contact, and it's Morgan Butler involved. Oh, I hope he's not received as much damage as he had earlier. Nick Clibbins has had a really good start, actually, and he's got alongside Ben Hicks. They're 3 wide into turn 1. Ben's on the inside in the white and purple machine. Around the outside, leaving all the space in the world, is Sam Smith. And there's still 3 wide on the exit, actually. Nick Clibbins is in the middle of it, and he could very well take the lead here. Now, Sam Smith, in being a very polite gentleman driver there, has given himself away. There's going to be a bit of contact into turn 2, surely. Let's keep our eyes on it. How's everyone going to do as they get round turn 2 and into turn 3? Nick Clibbins has the lead, you know. Fantastic start from him there, Matt.
Certainly was. Sam Smith was a bit too polite there at turn 1, gave him all the space on the inside. Now head up towards turn 4. This is always a pinch point on this circuit. We can see there Smith getting edged out a little bit wide there by Varley, that is, coming through. Flatten is still in 6th place. He's not gained any positions, although he's up the inside of one of his many teammates here, coming up towards the chicane.
Yeah, Hakon Askin, the white and red machine there just in front of him. Very close together through the chicane as they all try and keep it nice and tidy. Look at this field making its way through. Oh, there's a car around. Mark Redford manages to save it. That's the beauty of front-wheel drive, as you mentioned before, ever so eloquently. God, I can't even get my words out. It's that noisy here, I can't hear myself. Morgan Butler still in the field then. 18th place he's up to right now, but let's have a look at how that start looked from where he was, because I think there was a car that just moved out of his way as they all got going.
Oh, it looked like a jump start ahead of him, potentially. One that Civic ahead of him, like, potentially jump started, but oh, brilliant start. Look how many cars. Oh, and there was a closing gap there, but he got so many cars off the start, and then that gap here on the inside closed on him.
That was Rob Jackson. Oh, way up.
And he's man.
Well,
he's not had any luck tonight at all, has he?
He never does, Morgan. Honestly, I've never met a driver as unlucky as Morgan within sim racing, to be honest with you. There was a little moment there with the snail speed machine of Tom Van Putt and Martin Kenyon. The two of them were right together, and then it all came to pop as they got into the penultimate corner. The Veloster machine. Oh, there's a big off in the background. That's Martin Kenyon. Martin Kenyon's off again.
Oh, they all avoided him as well. That was brilliant avoidance by everyone behind him.
How on earth did that come about there with Martin Kenyon? Oh, Tim Perry's had an off. Tim Perry is off at turn 1. And I think there's more cars involved. Actually, no, it seems all right. Oh, God. Yeah, you were very right there. So what happened with these guys then? So Martin Kenyon out the final corner. Oh, he's just come back onto the racing line, not expecting an overlap. And he's just basically put himself across the nose of the other car. Let's have a look at what happened to Martin before that. So you'll see now, oh, he's had a bad run. Morgan goes to the left. The snail speed machine is on the right. Oh, he's just not really got anywhere to go, has he, poor Martin Kenyon?
3 wide into a very, very narrow part of the circuit. Yeah, again, just unfortunate, really, there.
I mean, it's very argy-bargy stuff compared to what he's used to in the oval scene. But look, there's barely an overlap there. And then just as they come together, oh, it's the tiniest of touches. I don't think he would have actually got a spotter call for that. I've seen situations before when people have been streaming and they've been more alongside than that and the spotter's not said anything.
Yeah, I've been in situations like that myself. You think you're clear, your spotter says you're clear, and you move over, and then all of a sudden you find yourself facing the wrong way against the traffic. But Varley here, he's up to 2nd place. He's ahead of Hicks now. Flatten's also up to 5th, and I think there's more drama down in the pack, Chaz.
Yeah, I think Niles Mansandon and Ben Gregory have had a bit of argy-bargy. They still are doing as well. There's positions changing all over the place. Oh, that was Luke Jones just behind, getting very close to the back of him. Look at the Elantra around the outside there. I think Gregory needs to come into the pits. That's why he was backing off. There has definitely been an issue for Ben Gregory. He lost a number of places. Ian Manners was the man that overtook him. So we're coming into the braking zone for turn 12. Gregory's having a blink in and out. Oh, yeah, that's going to have broken the suspension, that.
Yeah, and his car was blinking in and out. That was incredibly unpredictable for everyone around him. So
look at this lot. Look, the top 6 that were reversed before, they're all breaking away again. Look at it. The 4 Ignium cars and the 2 Simtech cars. It's like they're in their own different championship, isn't it?
Yeah, and Sam Smith dropped down to 6th. Somebody told him that there's not a reverse grid after this one, so he needs to get on with it. But he's staying with them. He's staying with the Ignium cars behind. He's got his teammate Nick Clibbins still leading this race.
Doing a very good job of it as well. And that's the thing. And apparently Rob Jackson's USB for his pedals came out at the start. That's why he didn't go anywhere. As Mark Redford gets very sideways in the Civic, chasing down Martin Shirley. He's still in 3rd place in his class, as he was at the end of the first race. Just realised we weren't displaying the gaps on the left, so sorry about that. Look at this lot though. We got Luke Jones, John Roberts trying to go around the outside of him into the chicane. Oh, there's a car around behind them as well. That's Jose Scully, isn't it? In the Civic. It's all very feisty, isn't it?
Not sure if he got touched there from Tim Perry going into the chicane.
I think he might have just been clouted, you know. I think he has just been clouted, as the phrase is in industry. Man's been clouted. Let's have a look. Morgan Butler jumped back to the pits after earlier. Oh yeah, he's been hit by Tim Perry, you're right.
And that's broken. Yeah, left rear's broken on that car.
Yeah, and I think he's decided that that is that. And yeah, look at that. Definitely broke.
Yeah. These cars have become incredibly fragile. But look at this now. Flatton's up to third as they go across the start-finish line to start the fourth lap. He's got ahead of Hicks and Ast quickly. And here we go for the lead of the race. Varley's having a look to the inside.
Gets it to the apex as well. Lovely stuff. Does he have the overlap on the exit now? If he can carry this round the outside here, Matt, he's going to have the inside for turn 3, isn't he?
Certainly will, but I think Clibbins is going to hang on to this here on the inside. But you can go around the outside of this corner. Can Clibbins keep it tight to the inside? He has done so. So yeah, he's held on for another lap because this part of the track is incredibly hard to overtake on.
Great view here on board with Sam Smith as we chase the field up the hill towards turn 4. They are actually still side by side for the lead, and Matt's making noises that we're all thinking as we go into turns 4 and 5.
It, though.
Oh, look at that! Round the outside by Preben Vala. That was unbelievable. Somehow carried the speed. Now Clibbins says not in your life, sunshine. But look, all this time Terje Flaten is getting closer and closer. There's a little touch on the way into the chicane. And all of a sudden now, this is getting very feisty. All 6 of them right together. Steve Norman's in the background thinking, please wait for me. I want to go at that. That looks fun. Maxime Janssen's leading the AM class in 8th position overall. Fantastic drive so far. But this is epic TCR racing at the very front of the field once again here, Matt. Love this.
This is what happens when you reverse the grid. Okay, we've only
oh, no! Well, he didn't ask for that, did he?
Nah. It wasn't even. Ben Hicks has gone around there.
Yeah, Ben Hicks, absolutely. I'm going to say it again. Clarted by his teammate, Hakon Ask. You see, he's just down the inside. Oh, he just tries to stop it rather than turning it in. And unfortunately, just drifts a little bit wide into his teammate. And Ben Hicks, way down the order now in 18th position. That's really going to annoy him. But these things happen, you know, and at the end of the day, there's strength in numbers when you've got that many teammates, but it can be a bit of a mess sometimes when there's so many of you trying to do so many different things at one time.
Yeah, I've been in that situation, being taken out by a teammate, as a
few of
us have been. No, not him actually, no. Surprisingly not.
Oh my God. Was it Kevin?
No.
Oh, flipping out. You are doing all right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Top 3 though, still absolutely nose to tail here. Flatten's all over the back of Varley, and in the last season we would have seen Varley jump out of the way to let Flatten through, but not this season. As Ben Gregory, is that fastest lap of the race?
Yeah, it is. Ben Gregory,
20th.
1:55.5, so clearly some pace underneath the Veloster of Ben Gregory. He's absolutely flying, but the thing is, with these guys battling as hard as they are, that's why they're all slowing each other down more and more, because it's not going the way they want it to.
Yeah, Clibben's actually defending for his life at the moment from these two, as Flatten's got up the inside of his teammate Varley going into the chicane. Varley looks like he braked a little bit early there to let him go, so sensible driving there.
Yeah, it's lovely stuff, isn't it? He's managed to just give him the time of day as down the inside he goes. Now for some reason Terje Flaten's decal layer isn't working in this race on my screen, and I've not got a clue why. Is it showing up on yours?
I haven't got the decal pack loaded actually.
Oh, blasphemy!
Oh no, sorry.
No, it's all
sorry.
Good. It's all good, mate. It's all good. It's not mandatory. It's fine. But yeah, I've not got a windscreen banner on Terje Flaten's car, but that's how I'm telling him apart from the others at the moment, because his teammate Preben Vala in an identical car except for the wheels. So one of them's got white windscreen banner and black wheels. The other one's got a black windscreen banner and white wheels. So let's figure that out. But you're right. This is a great drive at the moment by Nick Clibbins. He's having an absolutely dream race. I'll say dream. It's a bit of a nightmare with them pair chasing you down. Look at them. It's like the Blue Impulse Japanese display team, but still, it's great stuff by Nick. And he took the lead early on from third on the grid with a very tidy start. He was in the right place at the right time. But while he's done the fastest lap of the race, we've only just done 10 minutes of this race, so he's still got a long way to survive.
Yeah, this race will feel like it's going on forever for him. He's got nail. He knows he's got to nail every single braking zone, because if he just leaves a tiny gap, these two will be past him.
Yeah, they'll absolutely mug him off, I'm sure, when it comes to it, if they get given even just a sniff of having a position. But at the end of the day, they could even just sit behind him for the majority of this, you know, and put the pressure on until the real last moments of the race. But something tells me that Taylor Flatten is not going to do that. He's going to try and get the move done ASAP.
Yeah, he's all over him, as you can see. There's actually nothing between these three cars, and Smith's still hanging on to fourth position from Ark.
I felt that. I felt that as well.
Yeah, half a gap there, and into the chicane. Flatten going for it. Oh, it's absolutely nothing between these cars. It's exactly what you expect from a touring car race, bumper to bumper action.
It is indeed. I'm going to make all the cars white again, so I'm determined to make that livery work. Now, funnily enough, Preben Vala has been put in the race-leading car's livery for the temporary little changeover that it does. It sometimes loads other cars' liveries onto each other. Now, looking in the AM class, we've got Maxime Janssens, Martin Shirley and Ian Manners all within about 3 seconds of each other at the moment. So this is not going away anytime soon for Maxime. He's having to push very hard indeed just to hold on to the class lead at the moment. And that's the thing in this. The AM class is not an easy thing at all to win. It's just these guys aren't quite as potent as the ones at the very top of the order, are they?
No, it's absolutely not. And he's got Anton Tupan, who we know is a very quick driver, pulling him along. So he'll be learning a few things as he's going. So yeah, but he's got Shirley all over the back of him. Down the straight, he's not going to be under too much pressure this time around. Using all the track and a bit more. The line, Flatten's got the lead, Chaz.
He has indeed. Has he got a windscreen banner? That's what I'm more bothered about. But the race leader at the moment, yep, is Taylor Flatten, and he's got Nick Clemens behind him. For some reason, his teammate was still showing in the Simtech Racing livery there, but Taylor Flatten gets the job done. We're going to have a look at how he did it. Oh, he's just got very close down the start-finish straight, keeps Clemens to the left-hand side, and it's a nice, tidy, textbook, straightforward move from the reigning champion.
Yeah, Clemens probably made a tiny mistake through the last corner, and literally a tiny mistake, and it was just enough for Flatten to get down the inside. But look, Flatten's not disappearing up the road. Clemens is staying right with him at the moment.
Yeah, he's doing a very good job, and that's the thing. The slipstream isn't massive in these cars, but you know, it's enough. It's enough to keep them together for a little bit of time. And we saw that Taylor Flatten was so fast earlier on and able to fly off up the road. But now I think it might be a bit more difficult. Now the tyres are worn and he's not opened that gap up early on in the race. Could be a different kettle of fish altogether.
Yeah, you wondered if he might have used the tyres a bit more, because he was obviously pushing a little bit hard, pushing hard through there, getting the rear stepping out of his car there. So yeah, potentially using the tyres a bit harder than he did in the first race. So could be struggling a bit more. You're not limited by thermal temperature in these tyres, I'm led to believe, with the new tyre updates. So it's more just about general wear nowadays.
Yeah, it's a better way of having it though, isn't it? We've had a few cars that have had an issue, unfortunately. Jason Guerrara has had a problem and Martin Kenyon has gone past him. I'm worried he's going to get hit here from behind. Oh yeah, look at that. Wow, that is how quickly you can break the left rear suspension.
And a little bit of netcode, I think, involved there as well, just the tiniest of contact between them. But yeah, as we've seen, these cars have become incredibly fragile, almost too fragile, really. And you see there, there wasn't even a touch, was there?
I'm not sure if the splitter going underneath the rear end might have caused a little bit of contact, but still, that is not how you want your race to end, and it's, to be honest, not exactly what Ben Thanes would have wanted either, to be fair.
No, nobody would have wanted to intentionally take out another one of these drivers, but these netcode things happen in sim racing. It's just part of the game, unfortunately.
It is indeed. But Taylor Flatten, decal layer or not, still leads this race very convincingly. And he's doing an amazing job now. He's got back into the race lead. His teammate Preben Vala is now down the inside of Nick Clibbens, trying to take second place for the second time this evening. He's down the inside and he's got the overlap done. Beautiful move. So it's 1-2 for Ignium Motorsport again, and a 3 and 4 for Simtech Racing. Hakon Ask still in 5th place. But I think he might have suffered a little bit of damage earlier from hitting his teammate, you know. When there was that contact on the front left corner, I think it might have upset that front corner. And it's just not giving him the performance he wants, especially in corners like this where you really need it. Yeah, look, he is struggling. You can visually see he's struggling.
I think it could even be saying more recent, Chaz, because he was all over the back of Smith not too long ago.
Yeah, I'm just trying to have a look, sorry.
Yeah, I thought you were.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just trying to see if there was any other issues that he had, but can't see anything recent anyway where he's had a definite problem, so not sure on that one.
It just looks like he's really struggling with that car, really struggling to turn it in, and yeah, Stephen Norman's closing in on him. His last lap time was he was perfectly fine, so we'll see this time as he goes through. Yeah, it's a second slower than the cars around him, so it is a fairly recent problem.
Yeah, 1 minute 56.3 for Hakon Ask that time round. They can't ask much more of him, to be honest, other than just to drag it round. Stephen Norman then remains 7th. Sixth. Anton Dupin is 7th. Maxime Janssen still leading the AM class, but for how long? Because there's another mistake. We've got Ian Manners next up in the Samsoid Dungeon machine. He's ready to try and pounce whenever the opportunity comes his way, but of course the two cars in front of him are teammates. Simtech Racing Black, Martin Shirley and Maxime Janssen. They may be in different cars, but they are racing for the same outfit, hoping for another 1-2 in the AM class in this championship in one night. And look at that, Maxime moves over and lets Martin Shirley go through.
Yeah, we'll go round a bit wide though, and Ian Manners is trying to take advantage of that. It was very close here. Oh, here comes Manners up the inside, nearly 3 wide, Chaz, coming into the chicane. And Manners, is he going to risk it?
No, yeah.
Oh no, they all stay in formation there.
Yeah, Manners did the right thing there.
Thought for a moment he was just going to cheekily stick his nose in there, as we've got dramas here for Luke Jones.
Oh man, it's a shame to see these cars have become so fragile, isn't it? Because they're touring cars are meant to be beefy, rapid things. Oh heck, they got like glued together there.
We see this a lot more these days in iRacing cars, getting stuck together like that when they just get into tiny contacts. But yeah, as you say, these cars they're designed for contacts, and that was not a big contact. So yeah,
that was
quite a normal in your regular touring car race. That was quite a normal.
Yeah, they'd spin off the barrier and carry on. They'd carry on and they'd go out for the next race without any repairs for something like that normally. But yeah, that was a very strange incident. It seemed like whatever sort of polygon or part of the car was clipping through the front of Luke Jones's, it was enough to drag him into the barrier, almost like a sort of a whip around, like a lasso, unfortunately. But that's just how the cookie crumbles, I'm afraid, in online racing sometimes. But Ian Manners, he's looking very racy right now on the back of Maxime Janssen, isn't he?
He certainly is. Martin Shirley were having to disappear up front in that class, but Manners is. You've seen what they've done. They've put the who they think the faster driver is in the lead of the class to try and get the best result for the team. And Manners is trying to break up their formation there, using all the track and a bit more.
Doesn't quite work this time round, but still. The challenge is on, as in the background here we've got Jason Morris for Simtech Racing, he's got Tom Van Putt for Snail Speed, and then Tim Perry for Boosted Motorsport right behind. I did offer for Jason Morris to race for Spontex CDM Esports this season, but he got the offer from Simtech Racing before I could get there, so unfortunately for me, he's in the Simtech car, but it's a very striking livery and it's good to see him going well as well. It's his first iRacing league, I believe, that he's in, as he's got a little bit hot into the chicane. That's commentator's curse. I can only apologise, Jason. Now Tim Perry's down the inside of Tom Van Putt. Different classes, so they don't really need to fight this hard, but it's for overall position, so they may as well. And they are just getting very nicely acquainted with each other here. That Snail Speed car looks epic, doesn't it? That gorgeous metallic blue. And Tom, well, he just backs out of that one and doesn't try to make too much of a fuss.
No, it's been put down to 16th position, not that it changes his position in class. Flatter not disappearing up front like he did in the last race. Gap 1.2 seconds, and actually it was Smith who set the fastest lap of the race that time around. Although Platten had a quicker lap, but I'm guessing it was not a clean lap in iRacing. I'm guessing he got an off track somewhere.
Yeah, it must have just thought that. Well, in our software, yeah, it doesn't give you the fastest lap if it has anything like that. Now Luke Jones has come out of the pits and he's waited. Oh, he's gone straight back to the pits. Actually, I thought he was just going to wait for the leaders to go through, but no. Now,
yeah. Oh,
Maxime Janssen suddenly having a bit of an issue with Niels Mansanden, and well, Niels is manhandling the situation, it seems. He's certainly not scared of a bit of argy-bargy, is Niles. And he's got Mark Redford down his inside now as Mark goes a little bit hot into turn 2. Niles is surely going to try and keep it down the inside for turn 3 and put the pressure on, but no, Mark gets through.
He's up to 4th place in class, so yeah, nearing on the podium.
Yeah, and obviously he wants to try and get back up there after having his earlier issue, which dropped him down a couple of spots. It's been a great recovery by Mark, to be fair. Not sure how confident he was going into this season, but in that first race alone he showed enough potency to certainly alarm everyone else. Now look at this, Sam Smith is on an absolute roll here. He's right up behind Preben Vala again, and he could even get a position here actually, Matt.
You wonder what happened to Smith. He was in that first race, he was quite happy. He's sitting in 6th position, not particularly challenging the cars ahead, and all of a sudden this race he's absolutely come alive. Varley there running a tiny bit wide, feeling the pressure from Smith behind. Martin Shirley's, sorry Chaz, Shirley's taken the lead in the AM class, so I'm not sure what's happened to Janssens. He's dropped a couple of positions. Oh, of course, sorry. Yeah, absolutely, and well, Layson thought he should have been in this AM class, but as we've seen so far, clearly proven that he absolutely deserves to be in the pro category. Yeah, I don't know, look at this. Yeah, he may not realise who he's fighting, to be honest. I mean, we talked about it in the AM class do have the different numbers, but it depends if he's even got any overlays on his screen. I mean, every driver, some people don't like any information on the screen, some people like their screen full of overlays, so you may not even know who's fighting. Yeah, Varley's still under pressure from Smith. Flatten, he's not disappeared in this, like we saw last time. He's won by a huge margin in that first race for a touring car race, but yeah, Sam Smith staying right with him, and his teammate Clibben's right with them as well, so shame we can't extend the race. As a commentator, you know, well, Chaz would say, can someone hide the checkered flag? Yeah, you couldn't start this season any better if you wanted to. Pole and 2 wins, and then Vale backing him up in second place. Dare I say it, we're going to see these two finishing 1-2 a bit more often in this championship.
I want to apologise to everybody for the fact I was muted for the last 5 minutes of that race. I was I was taking painkillers because, as a lot of you know at the minute, I've got horrendous issues with one of my teeth, and it is I could barely speak for half of this, and I muted myself to take painkillers and then forgot to unmute like an absolute rookie. So I apologise, but Taya Flaherty has done it once again. Fantastic victory from Preben Vale. Sam Smith right behind. And as Matt mentioned just earlier, there was a certain commentator that would say you'd want to hide the checkered flag in that race, and he was absolutely on the money. But a great first night for the championship there, Matt. And you know what? We expected there to be a lot more contact involved in this one, but I think it was pretty clean, to be honest.
Yeah, on the most part, we saw some brilliant racing, particularly in that didn't see any of that people getting unnecessarily pushed off the track, or we saw a few incidents, but these things happen in touring car racing. Overall, yeah, great start to the championship, and looking forward to seeing how it all plays out.
Yeah, I certainly enjoyed that. Somebody's just blown up an engine by the sounds of it on the way in, but Taya Flaherty does a great job there, and well, the Hyundai Veloster is certainly the car to beat. Anton Dupin repping the Audi though, finishing in 7th place overall. And what a great night for this man, Mark Redford. He had a great comeback through the field from the back of the grid in race 1 to finish on the podium there, and that was a 3rd place finish in the AM class, and he finishes this race 2nd in the AM class after another very impressive drive. So we're going to wait for all the drivers to get into the pits, do whatever they need to do, and then we're going to try and have a chat with a couple of them before we call it a night. But just coming to you for a sec, Matt, what have you made of your first night of commentary here on iRacing?
Well, I can appreciate the job you do, Chaz, even more. Trying to look at all, I'm struggling myself, looking at all these different screens and trying to keep tracks of everything that's going on. So, yeah, props to you. You do this day in, day out.
Well, thank you very much, mate, but it's been good to have you, and obviously you've done a very good job. It's been good fun. We've had a good laugh. It's all been flowing, and obviously the racing that we've been given has been incredibly entertaining as well. We'll take a quick look at the race results, shall we, before we then move on and have a look back at the race itself. Taya Flaherty takes his 2nd race victory of the night. Preben Vale takes 2nd place for the 2nd time tonight. Sam Smith manages to get a podium for Simtech Racing ahead of Nick Clibbins in 4th. We then have Hakon Ask in 5th place ahead of Stephen Norman, who makes it once again 4 Ignium cars in the top 6. Amazing. Anton Dupin finishes 7th after what I'd say correctly described as a lonely race, 4 seconds ahead of Martin Shirley, who takes a win in the AM class. Mark Redford and Maxime Janssens round out the AM podium ahead of Niles Mansanden, who certainly got his elbows out tonight. Tim Perry finishes in 12th position, just under 26 seconds down off the lead. Jason Morris finishes 13th on his first night in the championship, with Ben Gregory, Thomas Layson, John Roberts, Ben Hicks, Tom Van Putt, Ian Manners and Ben Thanes rounding out your top 20. Martin Kenyon's was the last car on the lead lap, and then the cars that did not make it to the end were Luke Jones, Jason Guerrara, Jose Scully, Morgan Butler and Rob Jackson had issues off the start. So, as a bit of an honorary thing here, Matt, why don't you pick the first interview that we're going to do this season?
Well, he's had no luck, so should we pick Morgan Butler as the first one?
I was hoping you wouldn't, but we'll have him anyway. Morgan Butler. Morgan, mate, welcome to the booth. Now, I know that tonight has been a difficult evening for you, especially with the pace that you've been showing recently in these cars. What do you think was it just came apart most tonight?
Mostly my front left suspension, I think.
For God's sake.
Yeah, mostly that, I think, was probably what came apart. Yeah, I mean, I think all the sort of the stuff around the cars, it's been mentioned to death, so I don't need to mention that. But apart from that, it was good. It was close, like close racing, should I say? You know. But apart from that, I don't think necessarily anything like a lot went wrong. Mostly my car into a wall. But apart from that, like, I think it's just there's a bit of a pace deficit there.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at pace deficit in air quotations. That should be fixed soon, hopefully.
Well,
we think. I hope, praying.
I was going to ask you about that, because obviously the elephant in the room is the Hyundai Veloster and the domination here this evening of it, and the fact that I think 16 cars on the grid of the Veloster. Obviously, when these balance of performances get added by iRacing, you race these touring cars a lot, so you often deal with this more than others. What's it like going into a season not knowing which car is going to be the fastest if you have a favourite to drive?
I think, like, for me, and you probably know, I've never necessarily been the one that's been like, right, this is the car that's the quickest, this is what I'll drive. I think we both know I enjoy driving this, so I'll drive this.
Yeah.
Which, going into obviously this season of even in the officials, is maybe not the best way to do it, but I can still be competitive. I mean, I'd kind of done some maths with some people, and we assumed the car would be about maybe 5-6 tenths off at Hungaroring, and to be within 4-5 tenths of the leader maybe shows that I've got more pace than what the Elantra maybe was showing tonight. I could have definitely been up there. I messed up qualifying, which was my own fault. I just didn't get a lap in, pushing the track limits a bit too hard, trying to drag some pace out of the car.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it swings and roundabouts in it. Hopefully come next round, everything should be fixed, everything should be balanced. I mean, we all know what sim we're playing. Nothing's ever perfectly balanced, but we should be closer. It shouldn't be 6 tenths, maybe a tenth or two, here or there, different tracks, different cars, like in certain places. I know that driving style can maybe affect these cars as well. I know, and I think you probably know as well, Chaz, the way that I drive a lot of cars on this sim is incredibly aggressive, which the Elantra suits. It's why I picked the Elantra. Because of the longer wheelbase, you can be super aggressive with it, and it just sticks. It's why I've not gone the Veloster, because I can't be as aggressive. It doesn't have that same level of... Well, I don't have that same level of trust in the car. But
I was going to say, actually, because the Veloster we noticed with a lot of drivers tonight was the car that was really breaking away early stages. The early doors in the race, the car just seemed to not want to behave itself. Is that down to just the update, or is that something that's sort of been creeping in more and more over time?
It was the same with the Elantra, to be honest. The opening couple of laps is rough. Obviously, with the tyres taking so long to actually get up to temperature. I mean, if you look at qualifying, I think I've mentioned it to Jakob about making maybe the qualifying sessions that little bit longer, because it's taken maybe 5 laps to get these tyres up to a good operating window, and up till that point, you struggle for grip. I mean, I think even on the last lap I had in the session, I was bringing the rear was coming round at like 60-70 k's, which just goes to show how cold those tyres are.
Yeah, that's a nightmare scenario.
And you're not maybe necessarily able to get those proper good qualifying laps in when the rear end's dancing about like a contestant on Strictly. It doesn't quite work.
Well, hopefully it's better next time for you, Morgan. It's obviously a very different circuit, but who would you like to give a quick thanks to while we've got you here?
Obviously, just thanks to boys at Pure Sims, Ross for helping me with the car, the setups. Yeah, that's it really.
Fair play.
Obviously, thanks to you boys as well for a quality broadcast, as per. At this point, nobody needs to keep thanking you for it, because it's just assumed that we're thanking you for it because they're always high quality.
Well, thank you very much, Morgan. I appreciate that, buddy. It's good to speak to you again, and of course, commentate on you in a championship outside of my brand. So hopefully,
that is unusual. That is very unusual.
Well, hopefully we'll get the results with it next time, mate. We look forward to seeing you there. Cheers.
Yeah. See ya.
Cheers. Well, there we go, Matt Morgan. Certainly a talkative bloke, but at the end of the day, when you've had a busy race meeting like this, it's often that people have got a lot to say, isn't it?
Yeah, and fair play to him. He could have been up in arms, ranting and raving about what had happened, but he's just already focusing on the races to come and looking forward.
He is indeed. So, next up then, who do you reckon? We've got a few people waiting for a chat. Should we speak to our double race winner?
We may as well.
We may as well. That is that's the phrase. Tell you, Flatten, I'm probably saying your name wrong all night, mate, but to be honest with you, you won enough races for it to not matter. You must be really pleased with this evening, because that was quite the performance.
Yeah, tonight was really, really good. And it was great teamwork as well for the Ignium guys. So, yeah, tonight was perfect.
And what did you make of the circuit? Because we all know it's a notoriously difficult track, the Hungaroring. It's hard to string a lap together around here, isn't it?
Yeah, I watched some F1 races on this track and thought it was boring, but in the TCR car it was for me it was really fun. I enjoyed it from the first lap, and yeah, the track felt quite easy to me.
Well, it's funny you say that about Formula 1 actually, because F1 drivers in the past have described this place as Monaco without the buildings, because it's really hard to overtake here, and it's true, you know. It's one of my favourite circuits in the world, but it isn't always the most exciting, but for cars like this, I'd say it is. Now, obviously, the next circuit is going to be quite the different kettle of fish, because we go to Sebring on the other side of the pond. What do you make about racing there?
I've never tried it in TCR cars, but I tested it in some GT cars, and I really hated the track, so yeah, it will be fun to test the TCR car there and see how it goes.
Well, obviously things are going to get better after that, because we go to your home race at Rudskogen after that. I bet you're excited to race there.
Yeah, it's a really fun track. Never driven on it in real life, but seen some videos from it, and yeah, it looks like a fun track, so it will be nice to race at a home circuit.
Well, it's nice to have it on the calendar, and it's great to have you in our championship, mate. Is there anyone you'd like to give a thanks to while we've got you on the stream?
Yeah, of course, the whole Ignium guys and my whole family, my girlfriend who is in bed next door watching, and yeah, thanks to you guys who make some great TV coverage, and yeah.
Well, thank you very much, mate. It's been great to speak to you. Very well done on the double wins, and we look forward to seeing how the season progresses. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, there you go. Very, very humble gentleman, isn't he? Terje Flaten after 2 fantastic victories.
Yeah, certainly is. Should we speak to his teammate next? Did double podium?
Yes, we shall indeed. Preben Vala joins us in the chat as well. Good to see you, mate. You must be a pretty happy boy after that tonight, because that was a lot of hard work.
Good evening, Chaz. Yeah, I mean, that was good fun. I can't complain about the racing. It was excellent, and 2 good results for both me and for Terje. So it couldn't have gone much better for us too.
Now, I just asked your teammate about the circuit itself and what he thought of trying to drag these cars around here. Do you like the Hungaroring, or is it one you're sort of glad is out of the way now?
Let's just say I'm not the biggest fan of grade A tracks. I'd rather be at small twisty circuits. So this isn't one for me. I'm glad to see the back of it, and I'm looking forward to the next race.
Yeah, Sebring is a very bumpy place to be in comparison to the smooth, curvy nature of the Hungaroring. What do you make of Sebring? Is that a circuit you enjoy?
Yeah, definitely. It's challenging, it's bumpy, as you say, so you have to be very precise with your inputs, and there are room for overtakes, which this track lacks apart from turn 1, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you on that one. It is very tough to overtake here. Now, speak to us about the whole Norwegian takeover that we've got going on in this championship, because you guys getting a podium in race 1 was very impressive, and Matt reckons that that's not the only time we're going to see that this season. Do you agree?
I told the guys that you should just get used to it. That's what we want to do for every race 1. And I think we have the ability to do it. We prepare ourselves in the right way. We have good setups, and I think we should be there or thereabouts.
Well, I look forward to seeing how you get on, Preben. Is there anybody you'd like to give a quick shout out to?
Well, my teammates are obviously Terje, Håkon, and the rest of Ignium, who makes this possible for us. You guys are making the stream. All my friends and family for watching, and of course the girlfriend who lets me sit in her hour upon hour playing pretend cars.
always worth giving him a shout out, mate. Trust me, it keeps them sweet. Right, well, thank you very much for joining us, Preben. Well done on your fantastic results tonight, and we'll see you at Sebring next week. Cheers, buddy.
Thank you.
Beautiful stuff, absolutely beautiful, and what a fantastic guy as well. Really nice to chat to him, and they're just really humble people, these Norwegians, aren't they?
Yeah, they definitely are, and you got Mark Redford now in the commentary box joining us.
Yes, indeed.
Hello, chap.
Hello, Mark. You must be quite the happy boy after that one, mate, because it didn't look all fantastic after qualifying, but amazing come through the field. You must be overjoyed.
Yeah, I'm very happy. I had a PC problem. I got some error message just at the end, and so I had to reboot, and then by the time I got into qualifying, it was too late to get a lap in.
Oh,
But yeah, I really enjoyed the drive through the field on that one, on race one. That was great fun. And then the battle in race 2, it was just insane. TCR racing, isn't it? It was great fun.
It certainly looks it. Now, obviously, talk to us about the design for this car, because it's obviously based on a real-world car, isn't it?
Yeah, it's based on my son Will's Civic that he's racing in the Civic Cup. So I've kind of copied the livery for the Bro Alloys team and put Nest in the Woods on it.
And you're doing it justice as well. That's the best thing about it. How's Will been getting on with the car this season? Because I've seen mixed fortunes, I think, at certain points.
Yeah, it's been ups and downs. Obviously, it's his first season, so he's learning from some mistakes and having some good races. And and we swapped teams because we just wanted to get it to a more professional team, and it seems to be working well. So, looking forward to Brands Hatch. Not this weekend, but the weekend after.
Oh, I'm there this weekend. we always only just missed each other by 1 week. But,
yeah.
Oh, well, that's just motorsport. Talk to us about Sebring, though, because that's the next one on this calendar. And it's, well, as I've been saying to the rest of the guys, it's a very different circuit to Hungaroring, isn't it?
Yeah, quick one. I'm still getting used to the car, so it's all new to me. So I'm just going to do what I can and try and learn the track and the car combination and go for it.
And throw it around and see what happens, eh? Well, either way, Mark, it's a pleasure to see you out there in a very different car to what I've seen you in before, and of course doing well as well.
So.
Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, well, a big thank you to you and Matthew and all the guys at Nevo for doing the league and doing the broadcast. It's looks like good stuff. Big shout to Will and Luke and Samuel and Sally.
Cracking stuff. Well, always a pleasure, Mark. Thank you very much for joining us, mate, and I'm sure I'll catch you at some point in the near future for a beer anyway.
That'll be good, Chaz, yeah. I'll see you for a bit.
Nice one. See you soon, mate.
Thanks.
And there we go, Matt. Already, the first race evening of the season is complete here in the NEVO TCR Series, and what a fantastic laugh it was. Have you enjoyed yourself up here in the box?
Yeah, it was brilliant. Can't wait for next week now. Yeah, as you say, Sebring, entirely different challenge for all these drivers. A bit more time, got used to these cars a bit more. So perhaps we'll see a bit less of the Larry moments that we saw at times tonight. But I'm sure still some fantastic racing ahead to come.
There certainly will be, and thanks again for jumping in, mate. It'll be fantastic to see how even your commentary progresses over the case of the season as well. It's going to be a lot of fun, I'm sure. Thank you all for watching tonight as well. We hope you have enjoyed the broadcast. We hope all the drivers enjoy watching it back as well, regardless of result. We hope they are entertained. And again, I just want to apologise for any of the mistakes sort of part-way through the broadcast. Once toothache kicks in, I'm sure you all know how much it can mess with your head, and a quick slip of the brain is all it takes when you're a broadcaster to get something like that wrong. Either way, thanks for watching here on Chaz Draycott Media. This has been the NEVO TCR Series from the Hungaroring. I've been Chaz Draycott with the wonderful Matthew Crisp, and we'll see you next time round at Sebring. Have a good night, everybody.
Opportunistic, still rubbing panels as they go together. It's folded the wing mirror in on Gerardo's car.
Misano is such a difficult circuit for these guys to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections around the back. It's a very, very quick section as well.
It's a fantastic start from the 23. They're 4 wide there by the look of it.